Hi Cancer, welcome to How Love Tarot. This is your new love reading for 2022 for singles out there. What I have for you is 4 different areas of your love life that I'm going to be looking at today. First of all, we have the present position for 2022 or going into 2022. We have the strength position, the challenge, and the outcome. What it feels like, Cancer, for those of you that are single, 100% single going into 2022, or at the time that you're watching this reading in 2022, if you are single, this is your present position. What's happening here is that there is a strong desire to be in partnership and to be in love. However, we've got the mind and the fear really blocking your heart energy. And so the passion that you're putting forward in regards to love is not free flowing because there's a lot of fear in your mind. There's a lot of triggers in your mind. For some of you, there's a lot of negative thinking. And so when there's a disappointment where you try to come together with somebody, what it feels like is that you personalize it. You've gone through something in your life that's caused a lot of hurt and pain, and it's really affected your self-esteem and your ability to feel secure about your decision-making abilities. Now, for some of you, you're in the reacting phase because you're still recovering from the hurt and pain that you have experienced from a very difficult moment in your life. And for some of you, there's an overflow of emotions in the wrong direction. For some of you, it feels as if wanting to move on, wanting to get together with somebody, but it's too, I don't know, Cancer, it feels like your mind is not in the right place. And so for some of you, there is a struggle going on with the history in your love life and how you're coping with it. It feels as if you're going to have to really work on that and understand yourself if there is fear ruling your decision-making process. Now, I don't feel like this for all of you. I do feel like this for a good, 50% of you that are watching this. It feels like that's where you are in the healing process, that the mind is very much blocking or causing reactions. And you'll know this from dating. So basically you start talking to somebody, and what will happen is when it doesn't work out or it's not going in the way that you thought, there is this feeling of internalizing everything and making it you saying to yourself, there must be something wrong with you. What are you doing wrong? And that's really not the situation at all. What's happening is that the person is not right for you. And whether they make that decision and it feels like you're trying too hard. And so that's for 50% of you. It feels as if because you're not centered and grounded, and you're in a state of reaction, kind of like that fight or flight mechanism, because you're still healing from this kind of, you're surviving, right? You're rebuilding your life. You're in fear mode, and because of that, your decisions in love are when you get disappointment, it just kind of reinforces how you feel about yourself on a very deep and dark level. That's about for 50% of you. For others of you, you have been able to get past that, and you're in the next phase of your love life. However, what's happening is that when you try to come together with somebody, what's happening is you're getting triggered, and there is, again, for all sets of Cancers that are single, there is a lot of fear going on that you will be hurt again. There's a lot of fear that you will that you will not fall in love, or you can't fall in love, and that you've got to just keep things on a very superficial level. And for some of you, it's just, you know, that's kind of what's happening. The way that people are reading you is extremely superficial, because you're protecting your heart. You're protecting yourself from getting hurt. You're protecting yourself. You're trying to make the right decision. You're trying to make a logical head decision about love, and you really can't do that. Logic is not a part of love. If you look at really what love is, love doesn't have any type of logic to it. When you fall in love, most people, when they fall in love, it's, you know, the person that they fall in love with doesn't meet anything on their logical checkoff list. It is, they can't even identify it sometimes, why they love the person that they fall in love with, because the person is not the ethnicity they like, they're not the height that they like, they're not the weight that they like, they don't even have the personality or anything. There's nothing that they can put their finger on to say, well, that's what made me fall in love with you. And I'm talking about being in love as opposed to loving somebody. Loving somebody comes from the head, and just being around that person and seeing their attributes and liking and respecting them more and more and more over time. Falling in love with somebody, you have no control over it. And so what's happening here is that you're using your head to love rather than your heart to love. So you're actually not falling at all for anybody. And what you're doing is logically talking yourself into liking somebody a lot and making a good decision about somebody. That's how you're coming at love. And so what's happening is that even when you meet somebody that you really like, it feels as if because of all the fear, you switch from the heart space into the head space, and the way somebody responds to you is, you know, that's not what they want. Nobody really wants somebody to be with them on a logical level. They want passion, and they want that passion fueled by your heart. So Cancer, for those of you that are completely single and can identify with being very hurt and still kind of confused about what has happened in your life, and have lost a lot in your life, and have not had success in love yet, and have felt quite a lot of disappointment in love, that's kind of what's happening right now for you. The falling in love will happen, but it will happen when you are able to understand and achieve mastery that when you're having these dating experiences, it's not about finding love. If you go about that situation, I want to fall in love, I want to get married, I want to live with somebody, then you're not allowing yourself to go through the healing process. All you're doing is focusing on the outcome. And so you're making a very logical decision about the person in front of you, and it's turning the person off. Because when they meet other people that are not in that space and not making a logical decision about them, but are very, very passionate, can express that passion, can show it through their words, their actions, their energy, it feels very different to them. And that's what's going on with you. I don't think you can see it, to be honest, Cancer, because you're in the healing process. But that is the present energy, and that will, you know, pain, betrayal, a broken heart takes a long time to heal. You just need to have awareness that you're being very logical about things, and that there are a lot of fear-based decisions. There's a lot of running away from things. For some of you, that is the case. For others of you, you have not emotionally cut ties with, or you can't, right? You can't emotionally cut ties with the person that caused this betrayal in your life. And so it's been prolonged, the healing process. So that's kind of the present energy for many Cancers out there. And for those of you that can understand, well, you did go through that at one point where you were very fear-based and reactive, and you were very focused on the not being hurt again. For those of you that have gone past that, what's happening is you're still being triggered. So you may get into a dating scenario and be really happy, everything's flowing, and then suddenly for you, everything stops flowing. And again, that's an unconscious trigger, and that is you just protecting you. So there's some healing to do for many cancers out there for 2022. But let's take a look at what's coming in for 2022 as far as new love. Oh, and here is the Rumi card for you, the Oracle card. Give up logic and art for amazement. And so, Spirit, do you want to bring that forward for me? So Spirit said that's what they were explaining. So love is not logical. I didn't read this card. I just pulled it. I'm bringing it in now for you because the Spirit world are telling me to bring it in. So love is not logical. And logic and art, right? So art is a spectator, something that you do externally. So for amazement, give up logic and art for amazement. Amazement is something that is a switch that goes on within you that you become fascinated by. It has nothing to do with the mind. It is within the spirit. And so you can feel the shift of energy when you're thinking about things, when you're externalizing things, when you're making a good decision. Well, this person's good for me because of this, this, and this. Once you are in that state with a person that you're interested in, you are not in a state of amazement. You're not allowing that person to amaze you. You're controlling it. It's a very controlled thing. You're shut off, and you're being logical, and you're not looking at them as somebody to love. You're looking at them as a way to heal, but in a very logical way. So there's a disconnect happening for some of you because of what you've been through. In the strength position, we've got the World card, which is a beautiful place to be in 2022. So for many of you, what we have here is a varied and vast experience in dating. What it feels as if, like, the more people that you meet, the more you will get out of that head energy and get into the heart energy. But it does mean getting into relationships, and it does mean that some of these well, actually in the beginning for many of you, these relationships are quite temporary. And so and you're going to just have to be in them. You're just going to have to be in them and allow yourself to go through the experience. And it's them choosing you. It's not the other way around, depending on who you are. So it feels as if the person chooses you because they're choosing you from their heart space. They're not making a logical decision about you. And that's kind of what you need, Cancer. What you need is for somebody to bring in passion to your life, who is honest and loving and is just absolutely crazy about you. And if you allow that person to make the choice to be with you, you can be with them. And what will happen is all of that stuff will get played out. It's almost like rinsing. That's what Spirit is showing me. Like, you have to rinse the negativity out of your life. And so the person comes in, they try to love you. You know, they obviously have their baggage, you have yours, and then the relationship ends, right? But it's not about things being forever in 2022. It's really about having the experience so you can begin to open up your heart. So I feel different people, and this is again for people completely single, okay? Single cancers. This is not for cancers that are in a relationship. This is for completely single cancers. So you are going to be in relationships, and again, there's going to be at least 2 relationships that you will be in 2022 that if you allow this to happen, if you allow yourself to be with somebody that is crazy about you, your guard will begin to come down. And that's kind of what you need to heal to rebuild your self-esteem. And just because a relationship ends, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's natural when 2 people come together, you know, it either works or it doesn't. But in the process of healing, many times relationships do not work because You're coming together to heal each other. And when the need has been met on an unconscious level, the person will move on, or you will move on, or you will end the relationship because you're realizing that you don't want to be with that person, or you can't commit, or whatever, the trigger happens. So I do see a couple of relationships for you in 2022. If you keep it in perspective, you'll get a lot out of it. I do feel here, I just want to I want to come back to the World card. In the Hermit, what's happening is a lot in the Challenge. So this is a challenge position. There's a lot of introspection. I do feel as you move forward through the healing process to find new love, to love yourself, Cancer. And I don't mean in an arrogant, entitled way, but just to rebuild your self-esteem and to be able to reflect on past history and understand that there are things that needed to end. And even the relationships that come in that are temporary, they're all there to, there's always an opportunity for improvement. There's always something to learn. There's always a striving to be the best person that you can be. But you've got to get rid of all the things that are obstructing your path. And that's what 2022 is about. Now, the things that are obstructing your path are your thinking patterns. They're not anything external, not anymore. What's obstructing your path is the hurt and the pain and the triggers. What's obstructing your path is the low self-esteem. What's obstructing your path is that your heart is completely shut down, and the person, the relationship that destroys your life has made you feel unworthy. And Cancer, you're very much worthy, but you've got to start to keep things in perspective, that just because, and there's a tolerance level that you have to build up. There's a strength within your heart that you have to build up. So if you haven't already gone through a committed relationship after the big end of whatever brought your life to its knees, if you have not gone through committed relationships, and I don't mean situationships, I don't mean friends with benefits, I don't mean the almost relationship or where you think it's committed and the other person is not committed, not those types of relationships. Those are all nonsense. I'm talking about where, somebody says to you, will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? I don't want to see anybody else. And you both commit and you both stop seeing other people, talking to other people, and you commit into the relationship. You're going to have a few of those in 2022 if you have not already had them. For those of you that have already had those relationships, I believe that there may be one more may be coming in for those of you that go into 2022 or are looking at this completely single and have already been in a committed relationship, not the one that brought you to your knees, but since then. If you've been in 2 or 3 relationships already, then there's one more coming in, and that may be a relationship that has a lot of future for you. In fact, it does. It's you, because you heal completely, and there's not, you're able to leave the past in the past. And the challenge is being okay. For those of you that have not been in a committed relationship yet, since the big relationship that affected your self-esteem and brought your life to its knees, it's believing and building up tolerance that it's okay for the relationships to end. Because that's one of the things that you have to teach your heart again, is that you'll survive. Things that end, you will survive. Things that are not permanent are okay. It's okay to have the experience and to meet somebody and to go through baby steps of healing. In the outcome, as you do this in 2022, there is a complete transformation. You will leave, and for some of you, and again, it's a process, Cancer. It's a process that you're going through, and you will completely heal. You will completely experience love again. You will completely rebuild your life. You will completely energetically come into your own when you leave behind the negative thoughts, the negative behaviors, any type of numbing behaviors, any type of distractions that are unhealthy. Once you leave all those behind, and I believe 2022 is a year of doing that. I believe that 2022 is a year of you redefining what love is for you, and understanding that you have been operating from your head, and it takes time and experience with others in a committed relationship to drop into your heart. And it takes a few people just loving you unconditionally for you to get through 2022 and understand that you are lovable, and that you can open up your heart again, and that if a relationship, a committed relationship, long-term relationship comes your way, that even if that one ends as well, that you can survive it and you're good to go, and you can love and give of yourself 100% and experience that relationship and not do it in fear. Okay, not do it via reaction, not be in that relationship in a way that will limit your experience. So it's all about trusting yourself, learning to trust yourself again, Cancer, moving out of the head space into the heart space, because at the end of the day, Cancer, for those of you that have been deeply hurt from a past tragic relationship, you are not made to love from your head. You're just not. You're Cancer. Everything is instinctive. Everything is intuitive. And so when you are sitting in your head and you're thinking all these different ideas, you're not really in your energy at all, and that is an indicator that there is more healing to do, and you need to step back and look at the things that are inhibiting your healing. And you will move forward in 2022. You will find love again, and you will have relationships in 2022. But 2022, for those of you that can resonate with this, is about you healing your heart, you allowing people to love you and be in love with you, and then moving on. Because I do feel in the future here, once you can do that, there is a long-term committed relationship that you will be very, very happy in, and will bring in a lot of joy for you. Cancer, that is your reading for 2022. I will speak to you soon.